of a practice called ratib. It was filmed through the kind permission of the spiritual leader of the Bosmont Muslim community, Imaam Abraham, who arranged a performance especially for our viewers. Ratib is part of a mystical tradition which one finds in most religions, in Hinduism, for instance, or Buddhism or Coptic Christianity. None, however, take the practice quite as far as Islam, which has brought down through the centuries a practice that until today astounds and sometimes horrifies observers. Ratib is an ancient Islamic ritual which somehow allows Muslims to overcome the all-too human limitations of flesh and blood. Stabbing themselves with swords, no blood appears and no wounds remain. It's considered symbolic of the power of faith over flesh and over steel. It's considered to be proof that we're more than just the mere mortal, the mere physical, that life is also determined by things of the spirit and things of the mind. A humble hall is the setting for the performance. Ratib is performed after the last call to prayer, and as the men left for their devotions, I felt transported to the mysterious East. You're going to pray now. Do you mind if we come with you? It was looking down into the courtyard that reminded me of the fact that the setting was modern-day Johannesburg. The Imam has taken his place behind the bench being a symbol of a door or a gateway to a different level of consciousness. Imaam Abraham is presiding over a performance by his grandson, 9-year-old Yusha, sitting there on the right, and his friend Ziad Adams, all of 7 years old. As the young performers are about to begin, the pace is stepped up and they approach the Imam to bless their instruments. Then the show can begin. One can't help fearing for their safety, and it's not clear initially how strong the blows to their bodies are. They do seem, though, too young to be participating in a potentially deadly ritual. Ratib is performed with great pomp and magnificence. Is it entertainment or a test of faith? Well, in the early days of the Cape Colony, it was a form of protest theatre when Islam was banned on pain of death. An Islamic scholar, Dr. Ghulam Karim, told me that at that time, Ratib was the only way for the faithful to practice their religion, presented as entertainment and staged as a show. Looking at the little ones perform, one senses some of the spirituality involved, and you can't help feeling that there is indeed much more to this than mere entertainment. Ziad attends the Bosmont Muslim School. His religious teaching is supplemented with solid schooling, and Ziad is an eager young student. He is as mischievous and fun-loving as any other 7-year-old. Outside the classroom, he's a mean soccer player and scores high on the sports field as well as in Ratib. Are you getting better and better at it?
Yes.
As you get bigger?
Yes.
And let me see your ear. Because they put something in this, didn't they?
Yes.
Wasn't that sore?
No.
Do you think it's sore? No. Why isn't it sore? Do you think Allah takes away the pain? Is there not a conflict in you sitting there both as an imam and as a grandfather? I mean, in that you're there as a spiritual advisor to these men, on one hand, but you're also a grandfather to these young boys who potentially could hurt themselves.
Yes.
Now, does that not worry you?
Not at all. Not at all.
Genuinely, you don't get concerned?
No. I'm not worried about them. They are protected, you know. Like my grandfather and my father protected me, I protect them.
You can honestly say you never get concerned that something might go wrong?
No.
And that you would be responsible?
I'm responsible for that.
How does that make you feel?
No. Nothing to worry. There's a cure for everything. There's a cure for everything. At one stage, now very recently, one of my youngsters played with the spikes. And he took the mallet to knock the spike. And when I looked, the whole spike was in the body, only the knob was standing out.
And don't tell me you did a laying on of hands and the bleeding stopped.
Yes, no, I just got up easily, went to him and made him stand still, and I took out the spike. And there was no blood at all. Only with prayers, eh?
How does that feel as a grandfather when you see your grandchildren doing that?
Let me be quite honest, very proud. So look at them, makes me feel good, you know.
They're fulfilling all your expectations.
Exactly.
Ratif is when other people can see when you're believing in God.
So you demonstrate your faith to others?
Yes.
And that's important, huh? Why is it important? To make non-believers believe, do you think?
Yeah.
So you've actually got a very important job, you four.
Yeah. Lots of people don't believe us, but when they really see it, they're shocked. They're shocked.
Really? Do people say you're just doing tricks?
Yeah, some of them do.
What other things do they say?
They say we do tricks, we play around. Then when they really see it, then they're very scared.
So when you stab yourself, you do it hard?
Yeah.
Really?
Very hard.
Very hard. Can you show me how hard? Hit my hand how hard you hit yourselves. Muhsin Harman started Ratib when he was about Ziad's age. For him, it's a test of faith and, in his own words, like a sport. Practice makes perfect. I met Muhsin's wife, Buddy, to get her perspective on Islam and Ratib. Is it something to do with the strength that you saw Islam giving Muhsin?
Basically, yes.
A strength and a dignity, and obviously this ability to perform Ratib.
Basically, yeah.
First time I saw Ratib, I went mad.
Tell me more.
I saw him with this sword in his hand, and I thought, what's this guy gonna do now? And I was standing, it was like outside a window. They were in a lounge, but these people are standing outside. And I was so scared. I thought, what's this guy gonna do now? You know, I'm going out with him and see what is he doing. But it was a wonderful experience. When he finished that and he showed me his scars and things, I was shocked to see it. It's wonderful. It really is.
Is that from Ratib?
Yes, it is. I haven't actually hurt myself in a sense that I would probably die or something. The cut that I got on my neck was very sharp sword. It did bleed a bit, but it was stopped almost immediately.
before you left for home?
No.
In the ceremony?
In the ceremony,
in the ritual.
yes.
There was a guy there the other night, though, who seemed to think that Ratip would protect him if he were attacked in the street. But you disagree with that?
I totally disagree with that. That, no, I can't
I don't think
agree
it's
with
something
that.
you can use when you've been attacked.
No, definitely not. Most definitely not. If something has to happen in the street with me, someone just got to stab me or something like that, I don't think that I would get away with it because the atmosphere is not right.
And you don't get scared of infection when you're doing Ratip?
I've never had any infection or anything like that. It just goes away.
Because, I mean, theoretically, it could be a wonderful transmitter of AIDS. The instruments are all shared.
Basically, I have my own set of equipment but if anybody else wants to use it, there is no problem with it.
And would you mind me asking how your tummy looks now? What are we, 5 days after the ceremony?
Yes, it's about almost 5 days. It's almost nothing left.
May I see? Do you mind?
Sure.
Yeah.
Nothing left.
Yeah. But heavens, you can see that those areas have had a lot of...
Look, they do leave marks. But there's no infection. There's a few scratches, but that's about it.
So the shield, or the skin becomes a shield. It's like an armor plating.
Exactly.
Through prayer.
Through prayer.
If that is true, then anything is possible, isn't it?
Yes. Oh, prayer can make anything possible. I agree with that.
In Islam, Ratip is not an essential part of religious practice, but I found all participants are devoted believers. They also believe they will be protected from any physical harm only under the guidance of a spiritual leader such as Imaam Abraham's.
The moment I sit behind the bench, then I start with my prayers, counting my beads and all that. And then we start off. But we must start off with the verses of the Holy Quran.
And you use different verses throughout the ceremony?
Yes.
Do they change fundamentally, those verses? Do they mean completely different things?
Well, no, basically everything boils down to one thing.
And that thing is?
Faith.
Devotees believe that music and the chanting of verses from the Muslim holy book, the Quran, protects participants who are in continuous prayer during the ceremony. They believe each prayer and chant casts its specific protective power. Some stop the bleeding or the pain, others stop injury. Thus Allah reveals his power. But your music, your drums, tambourines, chanting is not there to induce a trance?
No. You must be at your full senses at all times.
So what...
The concentration becomes bigger, but you must be sober and your mind be clear. Once a person goes into a trance, then he is not aware of what he's doing, because you are in a trance. But we are fully aware of everything we are doing now.
When you hear those tambourines start and the drums and people start singing, what happens in your head?
Like something goes into us. Then all the people, they pray onto the small children, and the big men pray onto the other men.
Could you do it without the music?
No.
Why not?
Because we go with the beat that they hit.
out the eye.
What?
They took it out, putting it on a plate and walk around with it. They used to cut, like we do the human sacrifice. They used to cut the person in half.
In this ceremony, performed by Muhsin's father, no injury has ever occurred at this mosque, but it is on record that prosecution took place in the Cape Supreme Court many years ago after a participant had been split open with a sword, spilling his guts. The hapless victim died soon afterwards. Now, how do you regard the fact that you bled like that? Is that a failure?
I drew blood at will. I drew blood.
So you did it deliberately?
Yeah. To prove to the audience that the instruments are sharp, number one. There's no magic involved. I am only human. But considering the fact that I cut my tongue, a delicate organ, like my tongue, should have been lying on the floor in front of me. I also proved that the sword actually penetrates. You know, they stab themselves, they cut themselves, and no blood. Doesn't mean that the instruments don't penetrate. They actually do.
Okay, so you were demonstrating the fact that you can stop your
tried
flow
to
of
prove
blood,
it.
which you have done effectively now, huh?
Yeah.
Show me.
I normally do it.
Every time?
Every time.
You see? Yeah, look, again, I mean, you would sharpen your kitchen knife sharper than this, no doubt. But if I were to do this against my arm with that now, I would definitely give myself a big wound, a bad wound. Okay, so when you pulled out the one stake, you didn't say the prayer that stops the blood?
No, then I said the prayer. But with the other one, I just pulled it out without saying anything, just so that the blood must flow for a little. People must see it.
And you can use that prayer anywhere, in the school playground here, to stop
Even
bleeding?
Here, you stop the bleeding here too. No problem.
Now, there's skeptics who would say that's just magic. That's either rubbish or it's magic.
Let them name it and call it what they want to, but we believe that is how it is.
Dr. Ghulam Karim is an internationally respected Muslim scholar and medical researcher.
This is actually a stress reaction which makes the endorphins come out to tranquilize the body. That's what's happening. It's related to morphine, which kills pain. But beta endorphin, sort of keeps you awake. It doesn't put you to sleep. Morphine does. It hasn't got the sedative effects of the morphine.
I can understand the feeling of pain being suppressed when you're in that state, but you can still surely do damage to skin and nerve ends. Why is that suppressed by this state of consciousness?
This is the whole thing that the response, the stimulus and a response is very much dependent on what we call the cognitive matrix in the brain. The brain has got a lot of neural networks, and the body learns its response. It's very funny, strange. It learns its response in fire, you get blistering. The other thing, I wonder if you notice, they don't bleed.
Or if they do, they can stop it.
Yes, with a prayer, he can stop it. The person who was doing the Khalifa was doing on the sword. He can produce bleeding at will, and he can stop bleeding stop the bleeding.
Dr. Karim is currently researching Ratib both as an Islamic ritual and for its medical implications. He's doing so through the University of Cape Town. So, in fact, you came at it as a medical man as opposed to as a Muslim.
Yes, in a way you could say that.
In other words, your scientific questioning mind was causing you to question what you'd been told about the ceremony as a religious person. Is that it?
Correct. But then I discovered that the religious aspects were just too fascinating. Because, one of the famous researchers in Cape Town said this is a Hindu custom. And that posed a problem because the recital that they are doing is a very religious recital. It's called as dhikr, remembrance of God. And they are using the credo of Islam, the central, the core phrases, the recitations of Islam are being recited by these people. So to me, no matter how its presentation was weird or bizarre, it fell under the category of an Islamic ritual. The most important finding is that we are able to stimulate the immune system, which at one time wasn't thought that we could influence it. We are stimulating, and what does that mean? AIDS knocks out the immune system. Perhaps by stimulating the immune system, we'd be producing our own antibodies, our own antibiotics. So as far as I'm concerned, the medical aspect is tremendous. And
what you're talking about really is that the sky is the limit with this.
Absolutely, because the mind has never been studied. You know, the psychoneuroimmunology means, can we condition the body to stimulate the immune system? And that's what these rituals are doing. The immune system wasn't regarded as a sensory organ, it was regarded as a defense mechanism. But so this is very interesting. Its applications, I think this is the medicine of the coming century.
Mind medicine, in other words.
That's the last frontier in medicine, is the mind.
The physical feats demonstrated by the practitioners of Ratip are truly impressive, I'm sure you'll agree. So clearly this ancient ritual still has social and religious importance. But what is truly awe-inspiring about it is the pointer it gives us to the future, and particularly the future of medicine. That future lies in the seemingly limitless capability of the human mind.